Hello everyone, it's week 3 of the Recycle, Repurpose and Reuse prompt in the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium. And before I go on to tell you what the challenge is for this week, I've got to share this with you because it's just so funny. One of the members of the Facebook group, in fact it was Tammy Sink, left a message saying, wonder what week 3 challenge will bring. And Levi Ross had said, turn your masterboard into a COVID mask. And of course it had got lots of, funny laughing emojis. Well, that's exactly what my husband has done. He sent off all of my masterboards, well, 4 of my masterboards, and had COVID masks printed for me in my masterboard theme. So of course that's the latest one. I mean, to be honest, these have not come back brilliant. They're not the best masks in the world, but I just thought it was so funny. I couldn't believe it when he gave me the envelope. That was the previous Collage masterboard, and then some of my abstract ones as well, but just so funny. So there you go, Levi. Yes, you can turn your masterboards into COVID masks. So let me explain the challenge for this week. It's not COVID masks, that was just a bit of fun. So the challenge for this week is to make something using natural items, and let me just give you some examples. You can use fruit or vegetables, leaves even, flowers, feathers, twigs from the garden, eggshells, tea leaves, just a few examples of natural items. Of course, you saw me use a wasp nest a few weeks ago as well, so that would count. Now you can use other supplies as well. You just need to use one natural item in your project. Now you can see here that I've got a lemon which I've cut in half, so I'm going to use this to make a background, and I'm going to start off by using my jelly plate. Now I've pulled out some of the Dina Wakley media acrylic paint in lemon, and I'm going to give this a bit of a shake, and I'm just going to apply some of this to the background of my jelly plate, trying not to add too much paint. If I don't have enough, I can always add a bit more. So there we go, that should do. And I'm just going to use a brayer just to spread the paint out. So we'll just try and spread an even layer of paint onto the jelly plate like this. You don't have to use a jelly plate, of course, if you want to do something with fruit or vegetables. You can always stamp, just use an acrylic block with some paint on and stamp your impression instead. I've got a jelly plate, and so, I'm going to use it. So I just want to make sure that I've got a nice even layer here. So that will do. So we can spread the excess off onto this scratch piece of paper I've got to my right hand side. And now all I want to do is just try and be as random as I can and just make some lemon impressions. I can stamp these off on the scratch piece of paper as well. So I'm just going to keep doing this, trying to not overthink where I'm putting these. I just think that's lovely. Look at that. This is just so much fun. So I'm just going to be random about this to start off with, and then in a second I'm going to overlap some of my impressions as well, stamping off on the scratch piece of paper to my side as well. Here we go. And I just want to cover the whole of the jelly plate with these lemon impressions like this. I love how that looks. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Yep, I like that design. I've missed a bit there. There we go. And then, now do I want to take off an impression or just leave it to dry? I think what I'll do is maybe take a light impression on a piece of paper here. This is just regular copier paper. I don't want to take off too much of that paint, so I'm smoothing that out really gently with my hand. And then I'm just going to leave the rest to dry. Now I think my base layer is dry now, and so I'm just going to use some of this paint here. Now this is Amsterdam acrylic in sky blue light that I think I've just watered down. I've had this in a pot for absolutely ages, and I honestly can't remember what I had it for, but I'm just going to use some of this. So I'm just applying a small amount. You can see I haven't really got very much left. And I'm just going to use some of that to cover the jelly plate. So again, just using my brayer just to spread out that paint. And what will happen is that the lemon print will be in the foreground, and the blue that I'm using will be in the background. I've got a bit too much paint on here, so I'm just going to rub some off on my scratch piece of paper like this. You don't want too much paint, but you do need enough to pull the print as well. It's a fine balancing act with this, but with a bit of practice you get used to knowing how much paint you're actually going to need. So I think that should do it there. And again, I'm just grabbing a scratch piece of paper and I'm going to pull that print, or at least hopefully I am. And I'm going to press really hard now to make sure I get as much of that print up as possible, concentrating especially around the edges of the jelly plate here like this. So really smoothing that down with my hand, and let's go for it. And hopefully we'll have some really nice lemon impressions. Here we go. Oh, I just think that's a lovely background, really pretty. So this is my second lemon pattern, and this time I'm going to use regular acrylic paint in sky blue light and just see what difference that makes. Oh, I can see that I'm probably applying a bit too much paint here, but hey ho, let's move the lemon out of the way and we'll apply this to the background. This might be a bit stickier and pull a better impression. Oh, I think that's about the right amount of paint actually. So here we go, cover the whole of the jelly plate in that sky blue light. And again, I'm just going to pull another print. So grab another piece of that copier paper. And again, just make sure that I smooth that down really, really well. So really pressing down to make sure that I've got really good contact on that paper. So keep your fingers crossed. Let's see what we end up with this time. I love the texture on this one here, and I can see that I'm going to be able to pull another print as well. Now, these are the two prints that you saw me pull. So that was the first one I did, and that was the one using the leftover paint. I just absolutely love the texture on this one here. I ended up cutting myself another half a lemon. This is the other half to the other lemon I used, and adding some yellow paint to an acrylic block and stamping on top of my gel print. I forgot to press the camera, so I haven't recorded that, but that's how I did it. So I've got more of a pattern on this one here. And then you saw as well that I still had leftover paint on the jelly plate. So I ended up applying some Naples yellow red light on top of the jelly plate just to pull up the leftover paint. And this is the print that I ended up with. I love this one here. I think that's absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't stop there, so I ended up pulling a couple more prints as well. This is by far my absolute favourite. Did this in exactly the same way as this one here, but for some reason I ended up with more impressions this time and was able to just get more of those lemon segments. And this one here I love. It's so grungy, and I ended up adding a layer of the Dina Wakley acrylic paint in olive. So all done in the same method, but as you can see, just completely different results each time, but just all absolutely lovely. So I want to use one of these, and I think I'm going to use this one here. So let me pull out some more supplies. I want to do a journal page in my masterboard journal. Of course, I did a page last week and that was what I did there. So I'm trying to keep these as really, really simple collages. I want to work on this page here. So what I'm going to do is just pop a piece of deli paper in here just to protect my pages. And I want to use this lemon print here. Now I've pulled out two pieces of paper. I've got this piece of tissue paper here, and I just want to create create myself a background. So I'm going to have this black piece here on the bottom, and then I want some of the lemon print on the top. And I think I want to use this piece here because I've got this whole lemon segment here. So let's have a look. I can use that right to the very edge. So let me just take that away for a second, so I can trim it to about there, and then to about here as well. So I'm just going to take this off to my trimmer, and so I'm just going to cut out this piece of the background here. So I've trimmed this piece of the lemon background here, and I just want to cut a piece of this tissue paper as well. So let me just grab my scissors. So let's just trim that there like that. And again, I'm just going to cut it just to the black. Would help if I had my scissors round the right way. So I'm just going to trim this here as well. So I'm going to start off by gluing the tissue paper down first, just because I think that will be easier. So make myself a mark here so that I know where to apply the glue to. I'll just use a regular glue stick. Let's use the one that I had from Your Creative Studio. So I'm just going to apply it all over the background like this. The square one is nice and easy for this, and of course I've got my deli paper down just to protect the pages underneath as well. I want to make sure that I get plenty to the edges. Of course it's a bit bumpy underneath just because of the button closure that I've got going on the inside back page. Which way round was it going to go? So about there, like that. Make sure that I get it all the way to the edge. You see, I'm screwing this up now. There we are. And I'm just going to use a bone folder just to stick that down. There we go. That's better. Just like that. I love this tissue paper. I think that's lovely. So that's all glued down now and trimmed, and now I just want to add my lemon background as well. So again, bring back the glue. So I just apply plenty to the edges again, like this. I do like this glue, GLOO, that I got from Your Creative Studio. And I like the fact that it's blue so that you can actually see where you're applying it as well. So I want plenty around the edges, just like this. There we go. And then we'll stick that down. So that's going to go there. But I think I might have wanted it round the other way, which was straighter. I think it was that way around. I don't think it really makes much difference, to be honest. There we go, that will do. And again, I'm just going to trim around the edges. I just want to add a piece of washi tape across the middle. Now I've pulled out two here. I've got this one here, which is more of a vintage style, and I've got the leaves, which remind me of lemon leaves. So I've got that one there, and I've got this one here, and I really can't decide between the two. You see, that one there is calling to me. Oh, look, ESS Lemon. It's got to be that one, hasn't it? ESS Lemon. Oh my gosh, how funny is that? Right, okie dokie. So I am going to glue a piece of that down there like that. So we'll trim that one there. How bizarre is that? That was meant to be, wasn't it? So let's just make sure that we stick that in the center there like that. The lemon on the side so that it doesn't get covered up by my focal image, and I'll just trim that off on the side. There we go. So I'm happy with that. I love how that looks. I just love that background, and all I want to do now is just ink around the edges. I'm going to use my frayed burlap just to do that, just to grunge it up just a little bit more, mainly on the top part because you're not really going to see it here on the black. So we'll just add a touch of ink just along the top there like that. We can go along the side and the bottom as well, but as you can see, you can't see it quite as much. And then I've just got the most perfect focal image. That's how my background is looking, and this is the piece of ephemera that I found to go on the top. Now I got this from eBay, and I just love that there. I just think that's absolutely gorgeous. I got it from the same place that I got the apothecary labels that you saw last week, and so I'm just going to glue that down there like that. This is an original vintage piece of ephemera. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. You can see all the texture and bumps. Now I don't think it's adhesive. I'm just going to use a regular glue stick to glue that down. So again, I'll just use the glue that I used before, and as soon as I've done that, I'll be straight back. Now it's such a shame I'm covering up my ESS lemon just because I can't get it centralised otherwise, so that's a shame, but hey ho, you know, I know it's there. And I'm just going to stick that down just like that. I think that's just perfect. Bring back my bone folder just to make sure that I've got that glued down. I love that page. I love that background. I think it's gorgeous. I'd like to try and finish the left-hand page as well. I've pulled out this flower. It's a pressed flower from my stash, and I just think the colours go really well with the background and with the lemon as well. So I want to try and incorporate that there. I was thinking maybe leaves as well, so, you know, I might change my mind. So I just want to see if I can pull out some ephemera that I might be able to use on this page, because I'd really like to keep some of this perspective paper showing. So I'm just going to have a look and see what I've got in my little pocket. Let's pull out my pocket of ephemera and see if I have anything that might work. I want to try and keep the blue, so let's have a look and see what we've got. You see, I really like that, but I think perhaps that might be a bit too much. Maybe that could be a possibility, because style-wise I think it goes quite well with that. I'm going to have a play around and pull out a few bits and pieces and see what I can find. I am absolutely drawn to this piece here, and I've tried so many other things and I just keep coming back to this one, and I think I'm going to keep it as simple as this 3-piece collage as well. I've tried adding other bits and pieces that I thought might go. I've got a ticket here, but I don't know, the simplicity of just having those 3 pieces on their own just really works. I've tried this piece here, which again, you know, I could have this at the bottom, would go really well, but I don't know, I just think it spoils it, adding more to the page. And if I take these away, it looks so much more pleasing to my eye anyway, just having those 3 pieces. So I am going to go away and glue this piece of paper here. Now this is out of one of the Your Creative Studio boxes. This was the first one I received from them, which is, I think, was the April box. And this is just a piece of ephemera that I had from In Love Arts, I do believe. So I'm going to find some way of gluing those down. And then I've just got to think how I'm going to add that onto the page as well. Now it's funny how different things look once you've got them glued down. I've decided I am going to add a couple more pieces. I'm going to add this little apothecary label here and this very pale red postage stamp there, like that. And I think that's a really nice, really simple 5-piece collage. So I'm going to glue those down as well. And then I just need to decide what I'm going to do with my flower. Now, apologies, there's a fly buzzing around in here, but I just want to glue my flower down. I've got my pot of 3-in-1 glue. So this is 3 parts Mod Podge and 1 part glue, water. And I'm just going to add some of that to the back of this flower. So I've got a really soft paintbrush, which I'm going to use, and I'm just going to try and be really gentle and not break up my dried flower. So we'll apply this all over the flower and the stem, and I'm hoping that this will hold everything down enough. I don't want to apply any tissue to the back of this, which I've done in previous projects, just because it just doesn't seem to fit with the minimalistic theme that I'm going for in this journal. I love how this journal is looking and coming together. So let me just apply plenty of glue here, as I say, to the back, And let's see if this will hold. So I'm just going to pull that over, and I want the flower to go about there, like that. I don't want to lose any of my petals on this flower here, so I am just using a tiny bit of matte medium. So this is just the Galleria matte medium, and I'm just going to go over those like that, which will just secure everything in place and just make sure that none of that is going to go anywhere. So I'm going to apply that all over the stem as well, just to make sure that that's all held very firmly in place. And of course I'm going to have to leave this for a few minutes to dry. I'm using a really thin paintbrush as well to do this, so that you know, I only get the glue where I really want it. There we go. Well, the glue's dry, and the matte medium, I have to say, has worked really well in protecting that page. I just love that spread so much. I'm thrilled to bits with that. So, of course, these are the 3rd and 4th pages that I've made in this journal. Let me just remind you of the 1st and 2nd. This, of course, is the journal that I've made from my masterboard that I created in week 1 of the Recycle, Repurpose, Reuse Challenge. And I'm just having so much fun working in this journal. I just find it really inspiring. Now, just to recap, the challenge for this week is to make something using natural items, so fruit, vegetables, leaves, flowers, feathers, twigs, eggshells, tea leaves, that kind of thing. Of course, I've used lemons on this page here, and of course the flower on this page here. And of course, I look forward to seeing how everybody else decides to interpret the prompt as well. Now, I will, as usual, leave the link to Kylie's video in the description box below. But if you enjoyed my video today, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, because it does let YouTube know that you like what I'm doing, and let me know what you think in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.